Imagine this. Tomorrow morning, you wake up. You check your bank account. Your balance shows $1 billion, but it's not just you. Your neighbor, your friends, your boss, the taxi driver, the street vendor, everyone in the world is now a billionaire. It sounds like paradise, right? But would that really make the world happier, or would it create total chaos? Today, we're going to explore one crazy but serious question. What would happen if everyone became a billionaire? For most of our lives, we've been taught that money is the solution. If you lack money, work harder. If you have enough money, life becomes secure. If you have a lot of money, you become free. We look at people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or Bernard Arnault, and we think, wow, it must be nice to be them. But what if it's not just them? What if everyone becomes like them? Let's start with the most obvious effect. Money would suddenly lose its meaning. Everyone had $1 billion. Then no one would truly be rich anymore. Why? Because the value of money is not about the number. It's about comparison. If everyone suddenly has a lot of money, prices will skyrocket. For example, today a plate of fried rice costs $2. Tomorrow, everyone becomes a billionaire. The seller thinks, if everyone is rich, why should I sell this cheaply? Suddenly, the price becomes $500 per plate because everyone can afford it. This is called extreme inflation. Money still exists, but its purchasing power collapses. $1 billion becomes meaningless. Who would still want to work? Now, here's the big question. If you had $1 billion, would you still work 8 hours a day? Would you still want to be a cashier, clean the streets, work construction, drive delivery trucks? Some people might continue working because they love it. But let's be honest, most people would probably say, why should I work so hard? And this leads to a huge problem. No one grows food, no one transports goods, no one collects garbage, no one works in hospitals. The world could stop functioning. Not because there's no money, but because no one wants to do essential work anymore. And that's dangerous. Goods would become extremely scarce. Everyone becomes rich. Everyone wants the same things. Big houses, luxury cars, international vacations. Imagine if the entire world suddenly wanted a luxury car like a Lamborghini or Ferrari in the same week. Could factories produce enough? Of course not. Demand explodes. Supply stays limited. Prices rise to insane levels. And eventually something interesting happens. Money stops being the deciding factor. Availability becomes the real power. When goods become scarce, competition begins. Inequality would eventually redo on. Here's the most fascinating part. Even if everyone starts with $1 billion, inequality will appear again. Why? Because some people are more disciplined, more innovative, better at managing money, more creative. Within 5 to 10 years, some people might grow their wealth to $100 billion. And some people might lose everything. The cycle repeats. Just like in history, during events like the Great Depression, Societies change, but inequality often returns. Because the real issue is not just money. It's how humans use it. The psychology of motivation. Let's look at the psychological side. If all your needs are already fulfilled, what motivates people to move forward? For centuries, money has been a powerful motivator. People work, people study, people compete, people innovate because they want financial success. But if money stops being a motivator, then something else replaces it. Status, influence, power, recognition. In other words, humans will still compete. The only difference is what they compete for. The global economic system would collapse. Our current economic system is built on several pillars: taxes, production, distribution, wages. If everyone suddenly becomes a billionaire, tax structures collapse, currencies become unstable. Central banks lose control over money circulation. Institutions like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank would face a situation humanity has never experienced before, because the global economy relies on balance. If everyone becomes rich at the same time, that balance disappears. Would the world actually become better? Now, let's ask an important question. Would poverty disappear? In theory, yes. But would all problems disappear? Not necessarily, because the world's problems are not only about money, they're also about ego, power, greed, conflict. If everyone becomes rich, would wars stop? Not necessarily. Many wars happen not because of poverty, but because of ambition and power. The optimistic possibility. Let's imagine the positive side. If everyone had enough money, no one would starve, no child would drop out of school, no one would work 16 hours a day just to survive. People could focus on art, science, innovation, creativity. Imagine a world where people work because they love what they do, not because they are forced to survive. That world might be possible, but it would require an entirely new system. The real lesson, the truth is, wealth cannot be measured in absolute numbers. If everyone were 2 meters tall, no one would be considered tall. If everyone were a billionaire, no one would be considered rich. Wealth is relative. Its value exists because of comparison. So, is the solution to global happiness making everyone a billionaire? The answer is, it's not that simple. Because money without a system creates inflation. Wealth without production creates scarcity. Freedom without responsibility creates chaos. Money is important, but it is not the only answer. What truly matters is fair distribution, healthy economic systems, education, mindset, because if people's mindset never changes, even if everyone becomes a billionaire, inequality will return again. Now, I want to ask you something. If tomorrow everyone became a billionaire, what would you do? Would you keep working like usual? Or would you retire immediately? Write your answer in the comments. And if you enjoy content that makes you think deeper about life, money, and the future, Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because sometimes the craziest questions lead to the most logical insights. See you in the next video.